Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you all. My name is Naor Golan. I'm the head of sales at ADCORE. I hope everyone's having a great event. It's really nice to see the turnout. I want to take a moment real quickly and just kind of loop back to what Michal kind of exposed you to through SEMDoc. Obviously, I'm not a product specialist. I'm not a campaign manager. I'm obviously in the acquisition team, and my day-to-day is very much, winning businesses. I have to say that when I look at SEMDoc and a tool for acquisition, it's changed the way that I've gone about, winning clients, winning direct advertisers. It's been able to really be a tool that I've been able to actually, well, not only me and my team, been able to win a lot more business, streamline the whole aspect of account auditing, being able to really put, if you will, a grade, a standard, really being able to, in real time, pinpoint what are the weaknesses, what are the opportunities. I mean, we're in a business that, each and every one of us is going to say that we're better than the next, right? And the moment that we can have something that's completely different, change the game, throw that curveball, produce that report in real time, we've seen in real time how much that really can help acquisition and how much it can drive sales. So as far as really one take that I would hope that you guys can take out of really SEMDoc, as on the contrary, of course, on top of what Michal said, anyone that's doing acquisition, if you guys have dedicated sales teams, if it's you guys that are doing acquisition, talk to us, talk to our team, see how we can maybe work together, how we can showcase to you guys how SEMDoc has really become one of the most powerful acquisition tools and really helps streamline the process for winning new business. So without further ado, I want to move into the next session, which is the future of shopping. So shopping has actually been a really kind of passionate area of mine. I've always been really very close to it. I've seen the evolution of shopping over the past several years, and it's really exciting where shopping has really become to. And if we look at the future of shopping currently, what's the point? And really, what have we heard through the whole, today? It's how do we take that high touch approach and really take it from that manual approach to the zero touch, low touch approach. And the good news is that, we don't need much. We need a very powerful feed management tool, okay? That's obviously the basis of how we start. The second element is we need Google's smart shopping campaigns. And I mean, both of those things are offered to you completely free. If you're part of the accelerator program, then you're getting Feeditor, which is our feed management technology, completely for free. If you're obviously a Google advertiser, you have access to Google's smart shopping campaigns. And with the use of these two elements, I'd say that this can serve already 80% of your clients. And what I mean by 80% of your clients, I mean it's pretty much the standard e-commerce guys, standard shopping campaign guys. The guys that don't have more complex, more, if you will, advanced business strategies. And so, if you will, we can categorize those guys as the other 20%, the guys that do have more advanced needs, more advanced business goals. And how do we utilize automation in our favor to really utilize, again, feed management and Google's smart shopping campaigns in our advantage to get to that end goal, which is, again, low to zero touch. So a quick little snippet about shopping, and as I'm sure a lot of us are aware, shopping has become the most important campaign type on search. It's generating the highest amount of clicks, revenue, and it's the most effective ROI for e-commerce, hands down. And when we talked about really the elements, if you will, about how do we really take that approach from currently our manual process, which I'm sure a lot of us. So I do want to take a moment actually before I actually start. I want to ask, how many of you guys are actually, let's say, utilizing Google Smart Shopping campaigns? Can I see that raise of hands? And how many of you guys are actually still today, like manually managing your shopping campaigns? So there's a greater amount of you that are still manually doing so, and that's exactly the goal of really what we want to accomplish, is really to reduce the par between the two, and really start taking these guys that are in that manual approach to that automated approach. And so the first thing we need, as I mentioned, is a very powerful feed management tool. So Feeditor, our feed management technology, is there to serve all your feed management needs. Now, we've seen that, of course, with feeds, it's not only about e-commerce. It's, different verticals that it's like food tech, automotive, if it's Facebook, dynamic catalog, if it's dynamic remarketing, even going as far as search campaigns. One of the aspects of our pro license or our full technology is the ability to create automated or feed-based search campaigns utilizing your feed. In a click of a button, take that same approach that shopping does and mimic that and mirror that through your search campaigns. Build a template and take all that power, all that information that's in your feed and automate your whole search campaigns through our system. And that's something that Shani will talk about in the next session. So through the use of Feeditor, very simply, what do we need to do in order to get to that low touch state is first and foremost, get the feed optimized. And to show how important an optimized feed or a high quality feed is, nine times out of 10, the quality of your product feed can have the greatest impact on the performance of your shopping campaigns. And that means that I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably thinking that, no, it's all about the bidding strategy, it's all about the focus that I do there, and I'm sure that has a lot of effect. But in the end of the day, we're in an era of AI, we're in an era of machine learning. PPC is changing. The machines are smarter than ever, and they're able to actually do the work for us better and more effective than what we can do. And that's hands down. So what are we really left with? We're left with audiences on the account level, and we're left with the feed. And as much as we can really optimize the feed, if you will, for our clients, for whatever the purpose is. Many of you guys probably have e-commerce clients that are somewhat small. Maybe they're on some sort of Shopify platform, and the feed isn't optimized, or it's not, let's say, formatted for Google Shopping. Very easily, you're now able to cut the need for any programming or a need for R&D. You're able to just ask for the feed URL for any format of feed, and simply now, in your hands, do the quick rules that you need to in order to get that feed optimized for whatever the end purpose is. If it's Google Shopping, if it's Facebook, if it's dynamic remarketing, whatever the purpose is. And so that really lies on the power of a very powerful feed management technology. The second that we need is Google Smart Shopping campaigns. And it's a new breed of shopping campaigns. What is really, Google Smart Shopping campaigns, right? It's given us the opportunity to very simply set our budget, set our goals, and just let the machines start working in our favor. And the machines take care of the rest. We can now focus on things that are much more important to us and much more, if you will, effective to the business. And so when we look at smart shopping campaigns versus, let's call it manual campaigns that were at similar cost, smart shopping campaigns drove over 20% more conversion value as compared to those manual campaigns. So it is working. And so a lot of you guys are probably thinking, maybe you've given smart shopping a chance. Maybe you guys have, not had the best experience. Transparency might be one of the cases. It is somewhat of a black box. You don't have as much, flexibility, if you will, or you may not have the same approach that you currently do have, if you will, in a more manual process. But the thing is that if we look at 10 years ago, it's the same example as if when we were talking to our advertisers and our advertisers were telling us what search terms they want us to put or what keywords they want us to put on their campaigns. So it's the exact same thing. In the end of the day, the machines know better than us. And so, it might take a moment, it might be a bit different, but in the end of the day, it's proven results. And so what my hopes is that, of course, with the use of a feed management technology and through the use of Google Smart Shopping campaigns, we can really help take you guys from that high touch to the low touch and really start being able to automate, like I said, what I believe is 80% or the majority of the advertisers. Now, there are advertisers that are much more larger, bigger advertisers that have more complex, more, I would say more kind of advanced business goals. like one ROI goal is not enough, and maybe they want to split into brands. They want to push a specific product or whatever bestsellers, whatever the end goal is. The good news is that even with that, we can still do that through the use of feed management. So in the end of the day, again, it goes back to the two elements. With the use of a feed management technology, and one thing that I'm going to go ahead and really kind of get into is how do we take the advanced approaches in not just getting a feed, let's say, optimized so that Google Shopping can accept the feed or so that we can submit it to Google Shopping, but what are some of the tips and tricks that we can really utilize through the feed management in order to start, let's say, attributing towards those advanced business goals or more complex strategies that our advertisers do need? And so all that can be done through the feed management, and together we're able to again help you guys take that more automated fashion and reach that goal of low touch. So what I want to do is dive right in. The first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and just showcase how easy, for those of you who haven't ran or taken a look yet into Google Smart Shopping campaigns. I'll just go ahead and make that a bit bigger. So it's super simple. I mean, put a campaign name, put your budget, and set your ROAS goal. It's that simple. Once you set that, the system starts obviously working in your favor, and the machines start, optimizing and doing all the work that you guys are currently doing manually. Can you guys see the? Okay, perfect. So what we're looking at right now is our Feeditor technology. So this is our feed management platform. And so here's where we're able to do one of two things. Like I said, one, which is maybe the more basic, managing the feed or getting the feed optimized for the merchant center, shopping channel, whatever the purpose is. So maybe the feed isn't, for example, it doesn't have Google's product category already implemented in it. So via API, we're able to go ahead and run built-in actions. For example, adding product category, choosing your product category, your merchant center, typing some keywords. And as you guys can see here, via the API, we're able to simply just choose and add whatever we need to. And so I won't go into the more basic aspects because it's quite straightforward. The point being is that whatever you guys need to do, if it's add, if it's edit, if it's manipulate, if it's format, Feeditor can do it all for you. And the power that Feeditor really has is that we're able to utilize the ability to create different versions. So from one source feed, I'm able to then create a Google Shopping feed. I'm able to create then a Facebook dynamic feed. I'm able to create a dynamic remarketing feed. And all that is coming from the source feed. In real time, everything syncs up, and every version that you create on our system will then be updated in real time based off of the business rules that you've set. So your Google Shopping version and your dynamic remarketing version will all take into effect according to the business rules that you guys have set. And like I said, this is all open to you guys, completely free as part of the program. And my hopes is that you guys learn how to use it and do utilize it to your advantage. The next is really, if you will, like I said, the more advanced attributes. And if you will, taking care of those more larger advertisers that have more complex business goals. And so we can utilize a number of different approaches. One of the approaches that I want to showcase today is the use of custom labels. And as you guys can see, not only am I able to manipulate and edit the feed, I'm also able to add data on top of the feed. So I'm even able to add columns straight on top of the feed and create whatever sort of data set that I'd like. So as you can see here, I've already opened up a column called Custom Label 0. Now, my advertiser wants to take an approach that he wants to push his best sellers. So as you guys can see, we have through the data feed, we have the information of how many times the items have been sold. In a very simple logic, what I'm able to utilize in powerful actions is tell my system to go ahead and create now a logic that will give me best sellers for anything. As you guys can see, you have all the abilities to really kind of filter and play around with any of the logic. So let's say anything that is equals to 100 and plus, we'll categorize it as our best sellers. I can layer a secondary action or a secondary condition depending on how technical I want to go. So in this example, what we'll do is distinguish our best sellers against our regular sellers, let's say. And for that, we'll do does not equal 100%, 100 plus. So this simple logic now should give us two different categories. As you guys can see in real time, the system has now categorized for us our regular sellers and our best sellers. And so from that, what we're able to do then is, what's that? I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, my bad.
It's a salesman.
Yeah, right? At least I'm good at one thing. Sorry, guys. There we go. There we go. There we go. We finally got there. I'm not perfect, neither are you guys, so don't act like you guys are perfect, okay? So, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, point being is that in the end of the day, we can really utilize the feed in any manner, any logic. It might take one or two tries, okay? But you can end up getting there. And now from here, we have two different approaches, okay? So now with the approach, we can really either utilize our system. So the system now gives us the ability to take this version of the feed. As you can see here, this is a dynamic URL that the system provides for us, which is correlated exactly to the version of the feed that we've saved. So by saving this template, what I now have, if you will, is our bestseller feed. So I can now utilize custom labels in the grouping of Google Smart Shopping and now group into two different campaigns, give it two different ROAS goals, okay, according to my needs. The other option is now to create two different views, or two different feeds. So I can, of course, now take a different approach, which would require me then to just simply add a layer of filtration and just filter bestsellers, save a feed, and then obviously do the exact opposite for regular sellers, and then have two different feeds. And again, with the use of the system's dynamic URL, go ahead and input that into our Merchant Center. So the point being is that it's quite agile, and we have really every ability to play around with whatever works best for us. But in the end goal, we can now take it to Google Smart Shopping campaigns and start implementing according to our desired business goals. The other example I want to showcase to you guys is actually something I really like, and that's profit margin. So in many cases, what I've seen is that advertisers really do benefit from a custom approach where through our system, we're able to go ahead and utilize our expressions. So the first thing is that Feeditor will always give you a standardized column in alphabetical format, in text format. So we can go ahead and shift that over to numerical or number. And we can utilize very powerful expressions. So really, what is an expression? So if I go to math, an expression, I'm now able to utilize any one of the fields that I have within the feed in my advantage. So in this case, of course, what I do have for my advertiser is the price, and I have the cost. So very simply, a logic that goes ahead and just obviously gives me price minus cost. We'll go ahead and display our profit margin. Now, I want to take steps into actually going a lot further into, if you will, my end goal. So what I'll do next is I'll go ahead and tell the system to round to the nearest whole number. So it gives us a lot more ease in working. And of course, the end desired goal is grouping. So I'm not just trying to get profit margin into the feed. I want to start grouping into different profit margin groups. So in this case, in this example, what we'll do is 2 major, let's call it profit margin groups of 1 to 100. Tell the system that if any profit margin is between the range of 1 to 100, and do a secondary grouping of anything 101 to 1,000, let's say. Between 100.1 to 1,000. And if I didn't mess it up this time, there we go. The system has gone ahead and given us exactly what we want. And so the real point here is that very simply, whatever your end goal is, whatever it is that you're really trying to accomplish, one of the things that I skipped over in the slide, and something I just kind of wanted to kind of talk to you guys, is a little bit of a case study. So one of the things that we saw with one of our advertisers is that we had 100% impression share. And one of the things that we kind of tried to do is see how do we go ahead and increase impressions. And so what we did is we looked into search terms. And what we saw is based on that specific advertiser in this specific area, there were a lot of search terms that were, if you will, location-based. There were a lot of, like, call it best TV in, Amsterdam and Utrecht, or whatever it might be. And so what we did is we went ahead and utilized, again, our feed management technology. And very simply, in the description, we can go ahead and tell the system to edit the text. And let's say, in this case, just for ease of visual aspects, we'll add to the left so you see it first. And we can just say available in Utrecht. And so this simple logic, it might seem simple, but by doing so, increasing 20% impression, I think that's a good goal, and that's a good target, and that's a good result. And so if I were to give you guys 2 main takeaways out of today's session, is salesmen are not perfect, okay? And we make mistakes. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. One is, of course, we all see it. We see that, machine learning, AI, it's not just buzzwords. It's happening, and it's really, being implemented, and it's actually starting to work much better than what it did, if you will, 1 or 2 years ago. And how do we really help you guys take this approach from high touch to low touch? And within shopping campaigns, it's super simple. It's super easy. 2 elements. 1, powerful feed management technology. 2, Google's smart shopping campaigns. And for anything else that's more advanced, you guys can still do that through the use of the feed. And what we've seen is that people get very creative, and that they can really start utilizing the data and start delivering much more advanced, if you will, results, much more advanced strategies for their much more larger advertisers. And giving you guys now the tools that you need as well, not only to serve the smaller advertisers that are more, if you will, call it basic or regular strategies, but now take the ability to go ahead and say, I do have the power, I do have the technological stack behind me to go ahead and serve the large guys out there. Thanks so much for your time, guys. I appreciate it.